It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day. I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
Hello, Mr. Jenks.
Hello. Oh, I hit puberty. Sorry about that, guys.
You did. Welcome back to another edition of Can Crushers. The pubescent Michael Jenks is joining me once again. Is that the right word? If not, I don't give two shits this week.
We'll go with it.
Yeah.
We'll go with it.
Sir Jenks, how was your week?
Pretty mundane besides everything happening in the wrestling world, to be honest. Nothing too crazy went down this week. Just started doing one of my goals for the 40-year dash, restoring an old table, so looking forward to get back at that.
Where did you get that table? It was like that mustard yellow that Seth Rollins had on Monday night.
It was exactly like that. Actually, that's been in the family for about 50, 60 years, something like that.
Oh, that was a hot color then. And apparently everything old is everything new. So
well, exactly. It was a beautiful color. It was a beautiful color back then. It's definitely not going to be that color when I'm done with it. But picked it up. I got it from my sister who had it and was using it under a dog cage for some reason, and now I'm trying to bring it back to life. So.
It is a very nice table, folks. If you haven't seen it, head over to all the socials on 40-Year Dash. If you're not listening to both podcasts, you're an idiot by now. Let's just say that. Mark is a little foul this week, and it has nothing to do... Well, it's got a lot to do with wrestling and other things, and we'll get there. We're giving Jenks' story here for a minute. That is a real great table. Are you going to use it as a dining table, or are you going to put, like, your ferrets on top of it?
No, that was my intent, was to use it as a dining table. My goal is, and I should have plenty of time to do this, is restore it by Christmas time, because I'm actually hosting Christmas Eve with some of the family, and then Christmas Day we just have my intermediate family that comes over. So we usually rotate, and this year I wanted to do it because last year I wasn't able to. We had to pivot because of COVID. This year everybody's vaccinated and in good health, so I think we're going to proceed forward and get everybody in one place to celebrate. So the goal is to have it done by Christmas Eve. So I should be pretty well in the process.
Well, I'm so happy everybody in the Jenks family is in good health, because good
hey, Mark,
fucking transition. Because everybody's not good health on the Martinez family. No, it's not happening. Kelly was a little bit sick last week. We thought it was just the cough in her 30 packs of cigarettes a day. Well, we found out that it's COVID. Now, they had told Kelly it's a little COVID, or I don't know. Now they're grading COVID, which whatever.
Okay.
It is legit. A year ago, as we record, I would have had the full blown, and I'm not knocking anybody that has COVID. I'm just kind of telling you my week. I had the full blown. I slept 23 and a half hours. I ate. I shit. I had high temperature. I went back to sleep for the next day. Boom. No taste, no smell for 3 months. That's the COVID I had. Well, this is the COVID Kelly has. She's got a cough, this, that, and the other thing, but she's still not allowed leaving until Tuesday. So she has taken the bedroom, which, in hindsight, I should have done last year, too. The bed's a hell of a lot nicer than the couch. Don't get me wrong, I do like sleeping on the couch every once in a while, but now it's bringing back memories of me sleeping on the couch for 3 fucking straight weeks last year. And I'm like, as long as she's healthy and everything, good. Well, she's pissy. And, of course, this gets out that, Kelly has COVID, so now Mark and Ethan have to go get tested. My job, everybody knows, kind of local government, garbage man, this, that, and the other thing, now requires us to do 2 tests. The rapid test, so you can go back to work that day. And then the one that is like a 2-day, 3-day test. Jenks, have you had a test yet? And I know I've talked about the rapid test a couple times, because this is legit like the 8th time that I've had a rapid test, either from school or now work or something. That's just a Q-tip up the nose. Little Q-tip on a big not a little Q-tip, but, a Q-tip size thing, up your nose, pull it back out, you're good to go. Have you had any of that yet?
Have not. I've been kind of fortunate because I'm more of a homebody than anything. I don't get out that often, so my exposure levels have been very low. The closest thing that came up with was my sister had COVID at one point, but I hadn't seen her for the week preceding it, so I wasn't in contact and nothing came of it. So I've been fortunate enough so far not to have to get that rapid test or any testing done for it. It sounds like
the rapid test is not bad. I'm telling you, it's just it's a super long Q-tip. They poke it up your nose, they hit your brain. It's good to go. I think I'm just used to it anymore. I don't get a watery eye or anything anymore. It's fine. You'd be able to handle it, Jenks. You just get a little runny nose for a second. Nothing bad. This is the first time that I've had the new and enforced 2 to 3 day testing. All right, Jenks, we're men, and we don't know everything about this product, but you've seen them, Essentially, it is a Q-tip again, okay? It's a little bit thicker, and to me, the thickness is of shoving a tampon up your nose to that same spot of your brain, letting it sit for about a millisecond instead of just in and out, and then yanking it back out. It sucks.
Well, all I can imagine is it expanding, and you have to yank it out because it's going to get lodged and stuck in your brain at that point.
So you've seen the commercials and the TikToks and how it works. That's exactly how it felt. Like, this thing had a head on it the size, I don't know, I'm exaggerating about the penny size, but I mean, it was a big effing Q-tip. And she sets it up her nose and then asks me, "What do you think the weather's doing today?" Get this out of my nose! And then
it's probably not raining today.
Oh, it's good. You want to go for a walk? And wham! She pulls it out, and I'm like, "Holy Christ!" So I've been a little salty since I have a third nostril. And
so.
Go ahead.
Did it feel like a lobotomy? What I imagine a lobotomy feels like?
Yes.
Where they just yank out a piece of brain in that?
Yeah.
Like, how many days ago was that? If I'm jumping ahead in the story, I apologize.
No, my story's over. I'm just pissed off that I had to do it on Thursdays when I got scheduled. So I had to take off the day off work Thursday. I got the instant, the rapid one back in a couple hours, so I knew I was fine. Plus, being vaccinated and everything. It's just the paperwork because I work where I work, essentially, to have it.
Right.
I knew I was fine. I knew Ethan was fine. So I went back to work Friday. I was good to go, And then yesterday is when they called and said, "Oh, by the way, your tampon test came back fine, too." And I'm like, "Oh, good. I knew that."
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a plus that you didn't have to deal with it. When my sister got tested, she works for a local ambulance company up here in parts unknown. So she had to do the full 2-day testing as well as the rapid test. And then my niece, I think there was an exposure in her class at one point, and she had gotten allergies right before the exposure hit. So she wasn't in school, but she still had to get tested and all that. And that was the 2-day process, but she was fine. So they've had the testing done themselves. I don't know if they were just expecting it to be that way or what, but I didn't really hear much about it. So I just assumed that they kind of just shook it off. I don't know.
They must be stronger women than me. That's all.
Well, they've had to deal with me for all of their lives.
Touché.
I mean, so that's
touché.
I've only been pissing you off for about 10 years now. So imagine 30 plus for my sister, one of my 3 sisters. So
and now your niece.
And now my niece, and now my poor niece that has to deal with me on a regular basis. But
and Bailey every day.
Bailey, I think, is done with me because she's had a sleep problem recently, and Friday night I've had enough. I just bombed the entire house. I went through and she got bathed, she got medicine. Like, I'm just trying to eradicate things in here, and she's not too happy with me this weekend because they came back. She was good. It looked like she had some dry skin and some irritation from it, but somehow, some way, they found their way back. So now I'm going through and just deep cleaning this entire house like there was a COVID exposure in here. So
that's unbelievable.
It's spick and span.
I didn't tell anybody about that.
Here.
I did not tell anybody about that, and we kind of had the same thing on Thursday because I was off, and I found one on Miggy and like 2 on Max, and I could have caught them, pulled them off, and ate them like the boogeyman. But I went ape shit crazy because our dogs do not have them. I'm not saying we're like we can't breathe in our house or anything, but we're clean people, and I know fleas come from outside, and I'm like, I went nuts, and Kelly's like, I'm just staying in this goddamn room. I don't know what he's doing downstairs. I have a jackhammer downstairs going through walls, seeing if I can, what are you doing? I'm like, both dogs in the tub, you know, this is going to sound weird. You know, back in the day, like, Jenks, you have a brother, I have a brother. At one point in the 80s, and I know that you're not an 80s kid or anything, but it was easier for mom just to throw both kids in the tub. Here you go. You're 2 years apart. Fucking get a bath. Get your asses out of there. Go to bed.
Yep.
That's what my dogs look like. They were both in the tub, and they've never both been in the tub at the same time. They both had the salty face on their look like, whoa, what's going on? I'm pouring flea shampoo from like the ceiling fan so it gets everybody and everything in a bathroom. Kelly comes in and just looks in the door and just closes the door. She's like, clean up when you're done. The dogs don't have any fleas. Let me just say that.
That's a good thing. With Bailey, I actually bought her, so I got oatmeal soap that helped with her skin as well as killed fleas. So yes, when I did the bath, she was pissy because she doesn't like baths to begin with. But when I started scrubbing her, it started to soothe her skin. And then she was a totally different dog after the bath. Like, she was all over the place, losing her mind like she had been a puppy for a long time. So it was desperately needed. And usually, I'm a very clean person too. Usually it's pretty clean in my house for the most part. But yeah, it needed to happen. So that was pretty fun, just scrubbing and trying to get rid of these things. I'm hoping they're gone now.
Did she have a ton? Like, I literally only saw, and I said 3, but I mean, there was more than 3 in the dogs. Clearly, when they wash, they have longer furs. They have longer fur and everything. So there was some. It was just apparently, I didn't know that the fall was supposed to be this bad this year for them. I would have gotten a flea and tick collar faster.
Yeah, she had about at least 5 or 6 that I saw, and then she had obviously they lay eggs and that, so I had to pick those up. They came right off. It wasn't anything.
And you just fell into a hole in parts unknown, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you are nowhere to be heard.
Hold on.
That's all right. We'll transition.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. You must have got Verizon now.
The headphones. So I have wireless headphones in, and they're connected by a magnetic strip to hold the microphone closer. Somehow the microphone or the magnetic strip disengaged, and it dropped down like halfway down my chest.
Oh, that sexy chest.
Oh yeah, sexy chest. We'll go with that.
All right. Wrestling. 15 minutes in, and we haven't said anything about wrestling except the fleas fighting each other. And
the fleas are fighting each other.
Fighting my wife.
Wrestle flea me out here at Parts Unknown, baby.
Ooh, nice. Jenks, it was
before. Hey, Mark.
No, go ahead.
Mark, before we go in, seriously, I hope Kelly feels better, and I hope everything goes well. And this is just a temporary bump in the road with sickness. So I just wanted to say that before we get motor in here.
She's feeling better. She's staying the whole course, so she's got to stay in the house until Tuesday. Wednesday, she's allowed out. I wish it was Thursday by now because she's getting to be a bear. She doesn't she's a busybody, and I mean it nicely.
Yeah.
She's a busybody. She wants to be doing stuff. She's just, the bonus is, Jenks, and get ready because later on today I'll text you. she's watching a shit ton of Christmas movies right now. So hopefully I don't have to watch those. Maybe she's going to get them all out of her system, and I don't have to watch them here in the near future.
Man, I will tell you what, there's not one Christmas program going to hit the TV screens of this house until after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I'm that person. I'm one of those people. I love Christmas, but it's after Thanksgiving. I'm just one of those people.
I agree. I'm not a Christmas person, but it better not take care of my Thanksgiving. You know, we might as well just start taking it over on 4th of July.
Well, they try. They're trying.
They do. All right, so it was a Monday, and then after that, and we'll cover Raw and SmackDown. We'll cover some of the hot topics on that here in the second segment. But we got some shit that went down in wrestling this week, and Jenks, I want to give you got the rundown, so you can pull anything off of that list that you want to talk about, because I'm ready. Because there's 3 things that I know we've already talked about offline or off the podcast that we're pretty hardcore about, that we're like, holy hell, what the hell? It has changed the landscape of this week. So go ahead. You make your first pick this week.
You know what? If I'm going to go first pick, let's jump out with the serious topic first. Because I think Mox going to rehab is one of those things that we're going to get into a lot of discussion around the other things. A very animated discussion, but Mox going to rehab, sure, I think, deserves the first thing. We'll let all the built-up energy and aggression come out on those other segments as we get moving along here. But Jon Moxley basically taking time off to go to, I believe, inpatient recovery or rehab is news that broke this week, and something that was very surprising, but at the same time, kind of good to see that he took the steps to get himself help. And I'm not sure if it had to do, because the timing was right after the whole Henry Ruggs situation with the formerly of the Raiders and his DUI accident, and that it was right after that. I don't know if that was something that kicked in him or what, but Moxley going to get rehab was the one thing that stood out this week that probably presses over everything that's happened so far.
I'm glad you started there, because you're right. Because it is going to get animated on the other subjects that we have coming up, but this is a serious one. You heard, and we're going to bounce around this week, so good luck catching up. Just listen, because you love wrestling this week. You heard CM Punk come out on Wednesday and say, hey, this is going to change the aspect of wrestling too. And when we talk about it, we'll get there. And apparently everybody's made a drinking game out of every time I say we'll get there. I don't know. And it's just mostly me. So a lot of people are getting there early in the morning on Sundays. But Moxley stepping up and taking this and getting this help, it has been so close to my family. Yeah, it's an alcohol abuse, or I don't know if it's substance or anything, but he's just going into, I'm calling it rehab, to get help. That's the step. That's the first step, because if you listen to, again, subtle plug, the Martinez Lounge a couple weeks ago, these things that he's going through could have led up to having to call the suicide number or something like that. We don't know what's going on in Mox's brain. You heard Punk say it. He's like, hey, you know, it's awesome that you guys are chanting my name, but you need to be chanting Moxley's name, because this guy's doing the right steps. He's got a baby. He's got an amazing wife, and everybody supporting them. To see Tony Khan being the one that releases this, that's awesome. To see that it's a whole, it truly feels like a family ordeal, instead of, I'm throwing him under the bus all week, Vince McMahon saying, wait a minute, you have to come on so we can write you off TV for a while and forget about you. Yeah. That's what it would have happened, I think, in WWE. He had to have been written off by The Miz beating his ass or something like that. No. Mm-hmm. AEW stuff comes up and says Moxley's going to rehab, and he's going to get his health right, and then he's going to come back, and he's going to be that lunatic fringe all over again and beating people's asses. John, I know we're probably not on your radar, but if we happen to bubble up somehow, the email's open, the phone line's open, anything that you ever want to talk about. It's just amazing how in the last couple of weeks, everything has just been wrapped back around to mental health, and I'm so happy about this, is coming out, and people are supporting everybody anymore, because that's essentially where this is for me. Do you think it's the other way of drinking the whole time, Jenks, or do you think it also, leaks over into the mental health issue?
Well, I think it's one and the same, or at least is in parallel, because some people drink to just cope and deal with life and to erase that pain that happens with mental health or even physical health at that point. They just drink to forget about it. I'm not saying that's the case for Moxley. I don't know what Moxley's situation was, how heavy he was into it, but to me, it's taking recognition and understanding I'm not in the right place of mind, whether it is having those mental health issues, if it's just I'm just drinking myself silly to lose my liver at some point. It's being in the right frame of mind to say there's bigger things going on than what my problems are or what I interpret or see my problems as. And I think Moxley took that step probably with the help of Renee, his wife. And honestly, Mark, I don't have children, but I imagine that his daughter played a tremendous role in this, because he probably looked and said, I need to get this right. So I'm here for them as they grow older. And it could be possible that they're going to have more kids. And he is at a point where he wants to be there. And this is the right time to take care of it. There's other demons that are underlying here that fuel the reason for his drinking or his addiction. And he needs to get right the ship so that he can be there in the future for them.
I agree. Wrestling is only a blip in your life. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be always the one playing the devil's advocate here, because, Jenks, you made great solid points. He's made his money. He doesn't need to wrestle anymore. Renee's doing great things on her podcast. She could join him there. So he's now looking forward to life after wrestling. And this is the first step. Yeah. I want to say on that same aspect, Jon Moxley is one of those guys in the professional wrestling business right now, a la Stone Cold, a la Ric Flair, somebody like that. Mox going to rehab right now might open up the wrestling fan. And I'm not throwing, because I was the wrestling fan at one time. Yeah, I gotta drink beer and watch wrestling and yell at them and yell like that. There's people that idolize Moxley. So maybe this opens up their eyes to look at themselves and say, wait a minute, this guy is a superhero. He does no wrong. He was part of the Shield. He's the baddest motherfucker on the planet right now. Maybe I have to look within myself too and see if I have demons. And maybe it opens the eyes of wrestling fans or others around Moxley to say, if this guy can do it and he can put his pride aside, why the hell can't, average Joe do it too? Not the average Joes from Dodgeball either, Jenks, so don't even go there.
I wasn't.
Okay.
Well, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, but that's a different story. But that's a very accurate and valid point, Mark. And I think at some aspects, every person deals with demons. Whether they want to acknowledge them or not, you have personal demons that'll get you, bring you down, or mess with your mind, and if people say that they live a perfect life, either you don't realize the demons in your life or you're just neglecting them. And unfortunately, sometimes that can be the worst thing you can do.
Agreed. I was doing it, Jenks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done it, Mark. I've done it so many times in my life. So it's acknowledging them, but not letting them run your life, but taking care of them. Do something to take care of it. When we get into the releases later, because obviously, spoiler, that's what's going to be one of the topics.
Yeah.
There was a report about Nia Jax who took the mental health break, and to your point earlier, they had to write her off. They wouldn't just let her go and deal with her mental health situation. That's the difference between the two companies right there. I think Tony Khan has shown, and he tweeted, I think it tweeted as much, but he has definitely shown that he is all in about wrestlers, their safety, that he'll let them be who they are and what they can achieve, but he is there 100% supporting them too. And that's a big contrast between the two companies. WWE has their rehab plans that they do. They offered to pay for rehab for several former wrestlers, and that's great. But if you're not there mentally and physically, or just there as, hey, we got your back, and you're just writing them off and just saying, okay, well, take this and go get yourself healthy, that doesn't help. You can buy people to the live long day, but that just doesn't help in the long run, because it's a short-term fix for what can be a lifetime of demons, pain, misery, etc. So it's refreshing to see someone of Tony Khan's stature taking that step and taking that personal approach of being there for wrestlers, talent, whoever it may be, to help them fight those demons and keep them at bay so that they can live productive, full lives.
I was fascinated by one word that you said, and it is a generic word that each and every one of us use day in and day out. There. And
yeah,
it's because the way that you said it, WWE is going to send you to their doctors, right? They're going to say, you have to go to our doctors, do this protocol, do this protocol, do this protocol, and they're going to determine when you're healthy and you can come back. And if you're John Cena, Roman Reigns, somebody like that, WWE doesn't want to keep you off TV long. So they're going to say, maybe 90 days. All right, you're good. Go back. See you later. Khan has said, you do you. Essentially, you do you. We'll be here when you're ready to come back. You do you. And that is, again, what means more to me. If they want to, and I do know this, they're moving back home to Ohio. They're leaving Sin City, and I think that's probably a big step for Moxley as well.
Yep.
I've never been to Vegas, but I've heard stories. It's what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless you have great friends that went there. Then you get good stories.
Right.
There's alcohol, everything. If that's what Moxley's fighting, there's probably drugs, there's prostitution. It's called fucking Sin City for a reason. And, if Mox is going back to Cincinnati, where he is billed from, or some other place in Ohio, there's drugs and alcohol and the prostitution is around as well, but it's home. It's where he's going to feel comfortable, and it's no knock on this. Renee is Canadian; they're not going back to Canada. They're staying in the United States and all of that. So she's not going home; she's going to their home. I think that's a big move too, knowing that Moxley's like, okay. It was a discussion between both of them, so they're like, yes, we need to move. We need to get out of here and go to where we can start building something better for us. So, I'm reaching out and saying one more thing before, Jenks, if you want to wrap this up. John, again, get well. We love you, and this is awesome that you've acknowledged that you had an issue and you manned up and are going to take care of it. And that's cool for yourself, your family, and the wrestling world as well.
Completely agree. Well wishes to John. The one last thing I'll say is Tony Khan realizes, dating back to the CM Punk famous pipe bomb promo, he was just a cog in the wheel. The wheel will keep on spinning. For John Moxley, his number one goal right now is to be there get himself better for his family and for his health. And Tony Khan realized that. He's fully supportive of it. And to me, as a fan of John's, please get better. We love you. Even if this means you step away, which I know it probably doesn't mean that, know that people love you, respect you, and want just the best for you, no matter what happens as you go forward. Fight this, get better, and be there for your family in the future. So.
Yeah, because that's the number one thing. All right, Jenks, I'm going to let you continue to run this. Do you want to go releases or one of the other things that we have on the docket for this first segment? By the way, the first segment is going to be extremely long. Am I what? I'm full of fucking piss and vinegar on all of them, so I don't care where we go.
I don't know which one I want to go to. Let's go to, actually, you know what, this one, let's start on a little bit not as intense pace. Mark, what is your thoughts on the WWE using Paige as a referee for a name for a referee?
I don't know why you don't think this doesn't piss me off, because I think this is huge. This is fucking ridiculous. Paige, who, along with, no disrespect to Trish and Lita, but once the women's revolution that everybody's calling that started, it was AJ Lee and Paige that brought this to the forefront. And, yeah, we know that Paige is still on the WWE payroll. She's not allowed to wrestle. She's put out shit that she's going to sometime be back when her contract's up, meaning she's going to be going somewhere else because WWE is not going to let her wrestle. So now they've completely shit on her. Mm-hmm. After releases this week, which we're getting there, folks, we're building up to it. After the releases this week, we now find out that WWE, I don't remember her real name, is now calling this woman referee Paige, spelled the same way in everything. Her tweet is Ref Paige WWE, where Paige, the wrestler that we know is real Paige WWE on Twitter and all socials. What the hell? That's almost as bad as saying, JR's was a spoof bringing Razor Ramon in Big Daddy Cool Diesel back when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were in WCW. This isn't. This is just blatantly taking her name, saying, forget about that wrestler Paige, because now she's a referee.
It's so much bullshit. And nothing against this referee.
No, I don't even know her.
She's in a position where she's like, well, I guess I have to do this because it's the company I work for. But, what the fuck are you thinking? Why are we being a bunch of assholes? So, there's no reason for this. It's just, I have thoughts that I'm going to just bring up during the releases process with this. But at this point, it's just WWE either disrespecting or just being a straight up asshole about things. Yeah. Paige, I think, is taking it with at least somewhat of a sense of humor. She tweeted the picture of the two Spider-Men pointing at each other.
Yes.
In response to, I think, the ref Paige's Twitter post or something like that. And Paige is very lighthearted like that for the most part. But why? Why take the shot? Why poke the bear? Why be an ass? Why be a dick at this point? Let's just go there. Why? What are you gaining from this besides just causing unnecessary chaos? Are they planning to release Paige at some point in the near future?
They have
Why not
to
just do it with the releases? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Why are you doing it? Why are you making it now? Cut her and then replace her name. Maybe they thought that would be a bigger PR nightmare than whatever this is going on. Is cutting her and then just renaming somebody else her same name.
That's a good point, because I didn't think about that, because they're going to say Paige released from WWE, and they're going to be like, wait, I thought she's a referee. Because they're trying to make you forget about Paige. I blatantly feel this, that they're trying to make you forget about that Paige was in the WWE. Because there's no Over the Top Rope or whatever the hell that show was on late night with CM Punk and Renee, and that's not out there anymore.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Backstage.
Okay, yeah, it was that easy. Okay, backstage is apparently not in my in my dictionary today. But she was on that. That was perfect for her and Renee. And Renee had already had things in work to leave anyway. But Paige could have hosted that with Booker T, and CM Punk was on it. Anybody else like that? Paige is well spoken.
Yeah. They purposely, from what I've seen, they purposely leave her out of those retrospectives or callbacks to, the divas that came before them or the women that have wrestled before them. They purposely cut her out of that, giving her the credit she deserves.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, Paige and AJ Lee were at the catalyst for what the women's revolution became. Yes, Trish and Lita did it all, and I will put that in the pantheon of women's wrestlers. Live a long day.
The what?
But Paige and AJ's pantheon.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard that?
I have, but I just didn't expect it this early.
It's the big words, man. I thought we were doing big words this week.
No.
Keeping up the trend.
Anger this week.
Well, I went there. So, but Paige and AJ Lee really led that, what would become the second evolution, in which really brought in a lot of talented female wrestlers to the company and has them there, although they started cutting people more with some talent this past week. And they just disrespect her way too much. And it bugs me that, knowing that she is that good and gets disrespected, I can't wait for her to show up somewhere. If she can get cleared and she's able to wrestle with her neck, I can't wait to see what she can do in, I'm not saying AEW, but maybe Impact or wherever she does end up. It's going to be interesting to see where she can get away. And when do we see that release coming? Is it every quarter? Are we not going to see it until, January, February timeframe? Who knows? Because it seems like every 3 months they're cutting people.
Yeah, and I don't know her contract length. I don't know if, like, when she was doing backstage, if there was a different kind of contract built around her. Paige has a huge ass following on Twitch. She does her own thing. She's a great video gamer and all of that. So I think they're worried. I really do, that they don't want to make this release until this contract is up, because once Paige makes that announcement, hey, I'm going to, and we're going to keep rolling with it, AEW or Impact, everybody on Twitch is going with her. Because, this is a horrible word, but it's now stuck at my tongue. She's got a cult that just travels with her. And that's just money. And I don't know if maybe Paige is, her cult is linked to the WWE because they know her, but boom, once she's released, all right, she doesn't have to say anything about the WWE. I don't know if she has been saying anything about the WWE. I understand we want to start this Twitch thing or, a watch along on a wrestling thing sometime, and it's going to happen. We've been asked a couple times. There's times that I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. So maybe I asked Paige and say, hey, this, that, or what. No, I don't know. Paige isn't going to give me any 2 seconds. But stick with this. It's just another dick move to cover WWE's ass, is how I think it is.
No, completely agree. I just looked up, and some of the reports are saying at the earliest Paige revealed that it was 2022, June 2022. Some of them are saying until 2023. So looking around June timeframe, we'll probably start seeing, could be they just waited out for 6 months. And honestly, if they just rename the referee and then continue to push down Paige into obscurity at that point, the June 2022
That's
release
perfect
will be
timing for them, they would think.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking. It kind of all goes under the rug, and then by the time she's released, it is what it is at that point. So,
yeah.
Hey, hopefully she won't have a 90-day compete, and she can just go right out and fight after that. She probably does, but we'll see what happens. But hopefully for Paige, go ahead.
If her contract runs out, she won't have a 90-day.
So
hopefully she doesn't get released, essentially, then. Unless she's released now. Boom. It just slid hidden,
right,
and we don't know about it. Then we'll see Paige earlier. But if it's going to be a dick move, like 4 days before her contract's up and then release her... Not that they've been known to do that or anything like that. But
I just thought of that too, Mark, when you said it. Before you said it, I'm like, they're going to do it like 3 days before her contract runs out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here you go, 90 days.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they won't send her the paperwork in the mail on her wedding day if she were to get married. But
all right, we've been hinting around the releases. Let's go there, because then the next one is actually, we're pumped for it. The top of the one that I sent you on the rundown sheet. So let's really shit on the releases this week, and I'm going to pull it up as well, because I don't remember them as all. I know the major ones.
I have them up. You just want me to run through what I have up right now?
Well, I watched. Now remember, folks, I don't watch wrestling live. I can't stay up that late anymore. I don't. So I watched all WWE yesterday. and I went with Raw first. But I know about these releases. So I'm watching Raw and thinking, oh, this is a fucking horrible show. And we'll get to that. Again, take a drink. Then the releases happen in my mind, and then I continue to watch SmackDown. And I'm like, wow. SmackDown, to me, there was some moments, but it wasn't what it could have been. And I look at the names on this list, and I'm like, well, if this person would have been on there doing this, it would have been a hell of a lot better. If this person would have been on Raw doing this, if they would have tweaked this. This is a fucking organization that was released. Like, if I had the money, Jenks, I would sign all these people to an indie organization called Martinez Wrestling Federation and probably make a killing. So let's go over this list. And then we'll break them down, rip them apart, why we think they were released. This is probably a longer show, folks, if you haven't caught on to this. Or the recap's going to be horse shit, so we can get to the full gear predictions.
Yeah.
I don't care how you do them.
Probably. So here we go. So Keith Lee and Mia Yim right off the top. Karrion Kross, Scarlett. Do you want to go through?
Oh, yes. No.
I'm just going to run through the list because we can talk on every one of them. But
all right, go ahead.
Let's do it one by one. Keith Lee, Mia Yim. We'll group the couples together here.
Okay. Mia Yim, the writing on the wall was from when she was in whatever the hell, Retribution. The poor girl. Yeah. I loved her in Impact when she was part of the Dollhouse. I've seen her on the Indies. She can work. She did some great stuff in NXT. Again, it was a transition from Hunter's NXT to Vince's WWE main roster. That Vince didn't know what to do with her. So as Reckoning, she was a lost cause. Nothing against Mia Yim. She was a lost cause from the day that she made it to the main roster. All right? I love her.
Yeah.
But I never saw anything coming from her in WWE. Keith Lee now. Go ahead. You can go first on this one.
That's fine. So Mia Yim, I'll go back to Mia Yim. Completely agree. I think she could have done great things. Again, it's a whole Vince McMahon thing. There's a lot that I could say about Retribution because I thought that could have been something special if they did it right, but they didn't. But anyways, Keith fucking Lee, not Bearcat Lee. It's Keith frickin' fucking Lee. You have him essentially in a span of 2 years. He's became the first NXT US and NXT champion at the same time.
North American.
In July 2020.
North American.
North American, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. North American champion and NXT champion at the same time. Comes into Survivor Series, runs rickshaw over people. I'm jumping around the timeline here.
That's
runs
okay.
rickshaw, has a stellar performance, a breakout performance with the match against Roman Reigns in that Survivor Series match. Royal Rumble comes in, gets a reaction out of Brock Lesnar, and does damage in the Rumble match. It might have been a short period of time in there, but he made an impact. Then you have him beat Randy Orton on a pay-per-view when Randy Orton is your top heel on Raw, and then you let him fade into obscurity. How? The man was the next star of the show. I don't care, hook, line, and sinker, Keith Lee was your future. You could have bet the house on Keith Lee, and he would have ran with it to the live long end. And he should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame with WWE. He had everything that you would want, and they freaking shit on him and let him go.
You have him with amazing matches. Still, some of his my favorite matches are him and Dijakovic. They beat the Christ out of each other. Okay, I know I'm going NXT.
Oh God, yeah.
They beat the Christ out of each other. Yeah. He's had one of the top 5 moments of the year pushing fucking Adam Cole into a different organization. Off of that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was a huge moment for him. Adam Cole was the thing, and Keith Lee just comes down and pounces him into the crowd. That's one of those oh my God moments. You bring him up, and everything you said, yes. He has that injury or the COVID scare or whatever he had that he left.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you bring him back and, he gets a little bit of a rub and then you bury him again. And now you bring him back with this nonsense Bearcat that apparently whatever he's a Cincinnati University fucking football player now. I don't know what the hell he is. You ruined him. You did.
Yeah.
There's been some things leaked this week saying that, he had some backstage heat or what. Listen, we hear that from, and I'm going to throw a name out that people do not like anymore. We've heard it from the almighty Hulk Hogan to the fucking Malkies that everybody has some type of backstage issues. It's wrestling, okay? It is a combat sport. It's a combat entertainment, if you're going to say it that way. Somebody and everybody wants the rub. So at one point, everybody's going to have a fucking chip on their shoulder. It gets worked out. If you're releasing people because of this, you might as well release the whole fucking roster. And that's apparently what you're trying to do here in the near future. Because Keith Lee, along with the next one that you're going to mention and his wife, is a fucking story built within itself. The battle between these two behemoths that could have carried the next generation. Put everybody on fucking SmackDown, put Keith Lee and Karrion Kross on Raw, and let them do their NXT shit, and watch how those ratings on Raw, and Roman Reigns looks like a jackass saying Raw sucks, because Raw would take over with those two in a fucking main event. You want to talk about releases? Let's go.
No, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's absolute asinine that they decided not to do anything with Keith fucking Lee. Or let's go to the next one. Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux. You turn Karrion Kross, first of all,
into the fourth member of Demolition
in NXT. Yeah. Which actually, when I was watching Survivor Series flashbacks, like I mentioned that I have been, it was the same exact mask as Demolition, and probably the same exact get-up, except it was red for Karrion Kross. If you're going to go that far, just put him with Dijakovic and let him be the new Demolition. I'm perfectly fine with that. Let him destroy people if you're going to go that route.
That's a great idea.
But, so, God, imagine that tag. Oh, man, now imagine that tag. Anyways, I digress. Karrion Kross, you build as a killer, and I'm sorry if I'm yelling into the microphone here, but Karrion Kross was built as a killer. He was obviously Killer Kross before anything. Comes in NXT, absolute, just a destroyer, doomsday. Scarlett doing his entrance with him, being that harbinger of death and destruction, just letting people know that he is coming for them. Him, Keith Lee have that phenomenal title match where they beat each other so bad that Karrion Kross broke his collarbone fighting Keith Lee. It transpired, things happened. He got back into the title picture, whatnot. You bring him to Raw, and once again, you destroy it. Why? Is it ego? Is it pride? What's Vince doing? Triple H has built these guys up to be the next stars, to be what carries the company forward. And you completely destroy everything that was built for them in a matter of seconds. Karrion Kross's debut, he lost to Jeff Hardy, I think via roll-up, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Completely destroyed him. No, nothing against Jeff Hardy. He's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. By roll-up, have him run through Jeff Hardy. To me, and we can go through this entire list and talk about everybody. At the end of the day, from what I've seen over the past year and a half, to me, they are just selling assets to sell this company.
Yeah.
They're recording record highs. They're putting themselves in a position from a business perspective. They're putting themselves in a position to look the best they can with minimal expense so that they can sell the company. And who are they selling it to? All contracts come up in 2022 for television rights and whatnot.
Disney.
I don't know who they're selling to. Maybe Disney.
It's got to be.
Is it NBC Universal? I mean, they put everything on the Peacock. Are they getting ready to sell to NBC Universal?
I
don't know. But that is where this seems, because the talent on this list that we haven't even got to yet.
Right.
I would have thought, you're exactly right. I would have invested in your company, Mark, because we could have got a solid run out of all of these people.
Yeah.
And anybody that they had released over the past year and a half, we could have built a new company, and it would have been what WWE should have been at this point.
Yeah. Karrion Kross,
like they don't care.
Lost everything.
Yeah,
last year, he won the Crushie for the greatest entrance of the year. And it was because of Scarlett. Once Scarlett did not show up on Raw, I thought maybe the first week, all right, this is just a run-in by him and Scarlett wasn't dressed or whatever nonsense that you can make up in a wrestling fan head. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Scarlett never comes about. His entrance is everything that he is. And I know you shouldn't just build everything about his entrance. Oh, wait a minute. That's what The Undertaker is. Hello. This could have been that entrance for years that people, he could have been a part-timer in 10 years that everybody wanted to see come back because of the lie and pray. It's just, all right. Continue. Next on the list.
Well, let's go. It's Nia Jax. And Nia was a bit of a surprise. You've heard reports that Vince was kind of protecting her over the past week, would always stand up for her. She took I didn't realize that the write-off back in, I think it was September, with Shayna was a mental health break for her. And they wanted her back, I think, mid-November, and she needed more time. And I think that's where they just decided, well, we're just going to cut it and run at this point. Yeah, I get Nia was known for being a little dangerous in the ring, but at the same time, she's going through her own demons right now in her own right. If the reports are true, this was just absolute shitty by WWE to take this away from her.
This is where
the manner that they did.
This is where you step up for her. If she says, hey, Tony Khan's like, hey, Mox, take off as long as you want. Vince McMahon's like, oh, and Mox, we're going to pay you, by the way. Vince McMahon, Nia comes up, he's like, I need a little bit more time. Oh, you can have all the fucking time you want because you're released, is essentially what he said to her. That is not, again, we're not beating a dead horse with the mental health thing here today, but it's a strong point for both of us in our lives and everything. That is not what you want to do to somebody. And I don't want to say this, wouldn't be surprised now if, and I would think Nia's got a great support. I've already seen pictures of her and some of her friends on the old socials and everything. So she's got a great support system. But this could have been something if she doesn't have a support team that she's like, I've just lost everything. Because wrestling is her life. She is part of the dynasty. This is her life. Does she get put down a little bit because she was released from the dynasty? I mean, everybody's been fired or released from the WWE at some point. So let's look past that. The whole mental health thing is a big slap in the face from Vince. She was a harder worker. She's got that Becky Lynch punch. She's got the whole Charlotte thing the last couple of weeks, couple of months or whatever. Yeah. This is on you then, WWE. Tell her to change her moveset. Listen, don't try to do a forward roll. Don't try to... I'm not even pulling up things that she's done. I'm just saying, change your moveset. Let her be, and I'm not saying it because they're big body. Let her be King Kong Bundy. A splash, a leg, a couple punches, another splash. Let her turn into that. And then when she's not on TV, let her do some work with a bigger person like, you just released Mercedes Martinez, my cousin. Maybe that should have been somebody that she should have worked with well, because it's two bigger people. She can throw Alexa Bliss all over the place, and it's maybe because Nia doesn't know her own strength yet or anything. She was thrusted into this business. Have I always been a Nia fan? Nah, I don't. I don't like... I don't know. It's not that I don't like her gimmick. There's something about, I don't care. It's not that I don't like her. I don't love her, but she's just in the middle of the pack for me. You cut her because she wanted more fucking time off for mental health. that is why you cut her.
That's exactly it.
All right.
In my mind, well, yeah,
No,
and
keep
just
going.
one last bit on this. She could have been, in my mind, if they would have taken the time to work with her, she could have been something of a worker like you said, Bundy. You're billing her as a monster. Make her something like Vader. Give her something. Yeah, she can be a little rough in the ring. Let her be a little stiff. But all you need is flashes, leg drops. She doesn't have to work anything. My God, she could put leg scissors on a person and it'd be absolutely believable.
Right.
Vader made a career of doing that. He worked them over. Put her. You want her to be this monster. Give her the training and give her a way to be the monster while also letting her improve herself in the ring so that she can do better moves on a pay-per-view or in a bigger match or a bigger setting. But they didn't do that. They kind of just were lazy about it, like they were with a lot of the talent. They didn't put in the, I don't want to say they didn't put in the time. I'm sure some of the producers and agents did help her a lot. But at some capacity, get her to a place where you know she can be. She was on the main roster for what, 3 years, 2 years? What was it? I don't know how many years.
Of that. She fought Britt Baker in a dark match on Raw when Britt was only like 6 months into the business, and Britt's been in the business for 6 years. Yeah, she's been there for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's been on Raw. Help her. You've identified there's more that can be done to enhance your talent, to bring it out. I think every person could be a valuable asset if you bring out their strengths and help them work on their weaknesses. But if you don't, you just sit by and let them be, you're not accomplishing anything. You're not helping them all. You're not helping them grow. You're just letting them be. And this is sadly the end result of where they just decided, well, you know what? She's taking more time than we want her to for her mental health. We're just going to cut. What they said was cut their losses, essentially, which it's not. But that's how they're operating right now.
Yeah.
All right. So off of that, Ember Moon is now gone. Again, how?
Yeah.
Like, Mark, I could go on a diatribe about Ember and just rant. I'll let you go.
Ember,
I don't get this one.
I don't either, because Ember, when she first came up the first time from NXT, was a different look. She was, you had Sasha, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte, and then you brought up Ember, which was kind of like the high flyer of them, and she did awesome moves in the ring, and she just had that different look. You didn't really know if Ember was good or bad ever. She kind of played in the middle. She had a great run. Then she had that injury. Okay? And then she was gone for a while, and she's down in NXT kind of doing herself, and you can tell she had some ring rust and everything. Fine and dandy. She gets another good run, and she's a great worker. I don't understand this one either. I don't understand why. Go ahead. Because this one upsets me, because some of the other ones coming up, no disrespect, I'm all right, but I would still sign them, but I was like, whatever, except for two. There's two more that I'm really pissed about, so go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, with Ember, she got injured, big whoop. To your point, she could have had great, she was doing well, main roster, got injured, okay. She came back, she repackaged herself a little bit, had a different look. Her and Shotzi had a tag team running for a while. She was doing good. She has one of the better finishers that I've seen in a long time. Yes. I love the Eclipse. I thought that was a fantastic finisher. But the talent was there, and you did not capitalize. She can be great as one of those people. Yeah, okay, you got the 4 horsewomen, great. She could be a great antagonist, protagonist against any one of those horsewomen and have been at the top, played at their level, and been great on the main roster. But they said no. Why? I don't know. But again, it's another talented person. I don't know. At this point, I hate saying it, but I don't know, because half of these harebrained decisions that they've made, even with these releases, I have no explanation for it. It makes no sense, and it hurts me. The other shitty thing that this image kind of portrays is that Triple H brought in a bunch of these people, actually probably brought in all of them, if anything.
Yeah.
Is on the shelf right now himself, dealing with heart issues, still recovering from that. So all of a sudden, you just got everything he's built and some of the bigger names that he's brought in.
And his father-in-law's like, I hated the NXT.
Exactly. So his father-in-law rebranded it and turned it into a colorful show. No disrespect to the logo. I think the logo is great. But he just did a complete 180 of whatever Triple H was building down there while Triple H was recovering from something. Is Vince McMahon just like a maniacal, like,
senile fucker
person that just gets off on just fucking with people?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Because that's kind of where it's at. And with some of these releases, I think that's the case. And we'll get into a couple more. But, Mark, you mentioned you had two in particular that you were very upset about still.
Yeah.
Why don't I let it go to you, and then we'll go from there.
One was Taya Valkyrie. Guys, if you followed and Jenks, if you followed her in Impact, she has everything. She's amazing. It's John Morrison's wife. Mm-hmm. She's a great wrestler. She can talk. She's a little bit bigger built, but she can fly around the ring. She's another Ember Moon-esque type of person. That's done so much in the business. You bring her over, and maybe this one's on Triple H because Frankie Monet never got over. The gimmick was stupid. So pull her off TV for a little bit. Let her come back as Taya Valkyrie. Everybody knows she was Taya Valkyrie. Let her be that. Let her do her own thing. Or just move her to the fucking main roster as Taya Valkyrie because everybody's name changes when you bring her to the main roster anyway. Let her be herself because she can carry everything. Impact, Lucha Libre title, she's been there, okay? So that's one that's pissing me off. In the other one, all of us, anybody that's been on Camp Crusher has talked about this one because I think it hurts this group more than anything, and you've seen it Friday night. B-Fab was just on SmackDown. Just got called up 2 weeks ago. Just part of the draft. Just re-signed a new contract. And this is where Vince is a big douche. Now she's got to wait 90 days because she was under her NXT contract. Is she going to get in the ring? At some point, she probably was going to get in the ring. Yes, whatever. Now she can't do anything. She's not part of Hit Row, which was I think she was a big part of it. Swerve can talk. I mean, they all can talk, but it's good to have that different aspect of talking. She got under everybody's skin. She was a bitch. I just don't believe, and you saw it this week on SmackDown, I think it hurts them already, and Hit Row is going nowhere. The other ones, real quick, I'll run through my other ones. Davey Boy Smith Jr. was signed, didn't do dick since he's been re-signed. No. Metalik and Dorado, the writing was on the wall when Kalisto got rid of them. I thought they would have been part of the very first ones then, and they're going to find their way back to AAA or AEW because Kalisto was there this week.
Yeah, true. Was there any more you wanted to go through?
No, but I know you. Okay. I know that. Only Lorcan too. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But I know you were pissed about B-Fab.
I was very pissed about B-Fab. You said all the points I was going to make. It was you made her. I don't want to say made her, but you had her sign a new deal. I think as late as last week.
Yeah.
She had just signed it, and you completely just yanked her out. Again, it does hurt Hit Row. Hit Row is apparently baby face or faces now. It seems like with the interaction they had with Sammy on Thursday, not to jump ahead too much, but that's not what Hit Row is. And I can't see Hit Row being that way. Hopefully that's maybe just a temporary bump in the road. But to your point, B-Fab was everything with Hit Row. And I think it was something different with Hit Row. Because a lot of factions that you see pop up, sometimes they just stick to either being all male or all female. But with B-Fab, in the male talent person Hit Row, it provided something different. It was unique. I liked Hit Row for what it was. They had a lot of talented people, a lot of people that can talk in there. BFAB provided a different aspect to it, got under people's skin, but they stripped it away and they stripped her out. Frankie Monet, the disrespect that they have put on Frankie Monet and Taya Valkyrie through this whole process. To your point, she got one title shot against Raquel. It just seemed like very blatant disrespect to Frankie and Taya in her entire career, whether they meant it or not. But how unfortunate. You had such a talent. Again, we keep going back to you have the talent here, and you just blow it. Lindsay and Grand Metal League loved him in the Cruiserweight Classic. That was many moons. That feels like forever ago.
Yeah,
I think
Jesus,
it was
that was what, in
ago.
2010? No.
2016 or something like that. It feels like years, like 20, 50 years have gone by since that phenomenal tournament. But you're right. Writing was on the wall when Kalisto left. They have a lot of talent that they kind of just sat on and didn't leave and let them go. Could you imagine if they let the Cruiserweight division just be half as good as that tournament was? My God in heaven, 205 Live would have got over and people would have loved it.
Yeah.
But they restricted it.
Yeah, and that's from Neville even, because I know you were a big Neville fan. I love him better as Pac.
Yep.
But yeah,
right.
And it started then. In even somebody that Enzo, come on, they were all entertaining. They all had their own voice. Yeah. Well, at one point they had their own voice.
That's true, and now they don't. And I think that's the big difference between you see it both organizations is WWE. You don't have your own voice. Whether you want to have your own voice or not, you don't have it. I think the only one that does is Roman. That's because he's at the top of the card. The other one I wanted to, you mentioned it, Harry Smith. That one, come on. You just inducted his father into the Hall of Fame. You signed him to a contract. Get him on there. Capitalize off of this.
Yep.
You know, I think the British Bulldog is someone that doesn't get talked about enough in WWE currently as being one of the phenomenal talent in that. I think they ignore him. This would have been a perfect opportunity. Let's capitalize on having the Bulldog inducted. Bring Harry Smith back. Harry Smith was very good. I mean, he wasn't great, but he was a good tag team specialist when he was there. Develop him a couple more years, and he could have been a top star. He could have been at least pushing, not top card, but maybe top mid card. In the mid card, it would have been great.
Let him come out with a Bulldog, too. I always want a Bulldog back in wrestling.
I completely agree. Let him embrace his heritage in that. Let's do it. But they didn't want to go there with him, and they didn't bring him back for any reason. It just seems like he was just brought back to do a service that, hey, we brought your dad, put him in the Hall of Fame. We're going to bring you back, but we're not going to do anything with you. It's just a PR move.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very disappointing to me.
Oh, yeah. Eva Marie was released, too. And as much as this one, Jenks, she was brought back just to walk Doudrop out to the ring and have, she had maybe 3 matches in was she back? 6 months? Yeah. Nobody cared about her when she came back. Nobody cared about her when she was here the first time. Nobody cared about when she came back with red hair. This one's on you. This is on you. Yeah. You brought her back for, I'm sorry, get ready because I might get hate. You brought her back for TNA and not Total Nonstop Action. You brought her back for the look. That is it. So she could walk out and introduce Doudrop. What the fuck else did she do? This was a stupid move. I hope you only paid her minimum wage to do whatever she did. Because you wasted money on Eva Marie. And whatever. I'm sorry, Eva Marie, that you got released. You know, I don't know you from Adam, but still. Ugh.
I just wish they brought her back. I wish they had a plan.
And they didn't. They didn't.
They didn't. They just brought her back. I firmly believe it goes back to you can bring talent out of people, highlight their strengths. Eva Marie is not the most talented person in the ring. Okay? I think Eva Marie, if they had worked on her promo skills, everything along those lines, probably could have been a decent manager at some capacity and could have helped bring that out. To your point, she basically came out and introduced Dewdrop. Don't get me started on Dewdrop again. Just the name, leave it at Piper Nevin and leave it go.
Right.
She could have brought Piper out and just built her as a monster to destroy people. That would have been fully fine. That would have been great, but they didn't. And again, it was to bring people back just for whatever it was. Was it a PR move? I think Eva Ramiri was doing a movie at the time, so maybe they brought her back to that, just for some publicity around that. It didn't make any sense when they did it. I do want to say Oni, I wish they would have did something with Lorcan. He was so good in NXT. I will fully admit I didn't watch much of his stuff before that, but Biff is back on the market, it looks like. So hopefully they get Lorcan out in the Indies or somewhere, even in Impact or NXT, because Lorcan deserves it. He was a good talent in his own right. So
there was a couple that I missed too. That and you can just mention them real quick if you want. Jeet was on there too, right?
Yeah, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, Trey Baxter, Zaida Ramir. If I'm saying anybody's name wrong, I apologize. Jesse Camilla were the other notable releases. I know a lot of them. I think most of them were in NXT, getting ready, or at least developing themselves to become part of the NXT roster, if not to be at least a player on the roster at some capacity.
Yeah. All right. Now I want to spin this, and after this we're gonna take a break, Jenks, and we'll come back with the other hot topic to lead into the week in wrestling, without actually spilling to everywhere. But these are huge names. Some of them, yes, I would like to see on AEW. Cross would be one. Lee would be okay. If Cross is going, I want Scarlett there. I want them to be the demons that they are. Mia Yim can work, as I said, so her and Lee, yes, do whatever. The downfall is AEW cannot be WCW and scoop up all these people. They can't.
Yeah.
Impact, they're scooping up a lot as things go too, and clearly they don't have the Jacksonville Jaguars money in their back pocket either, so they have to watch. The downfall is, I think some of these people need to run the indies like Cody did for a while, have it be a year or two, just to, and maybe B-Fab's one. Let her get a rub from being in Hit Row, B-Fab, aka, whatever she wants to be called on the indie circuit. Let her get that run there for a little bit, hone her skills a little bit more, and then at that time, maybe there's an injury. I'm not saying this mean. Maybe a Jade Cargill goes down, or an AJ Lee, Anna Jay goes down, or somebody like that. Then they trickle in. You just can't have them all, because AEW's roster is growing immensely, and it is because they do the enhancement talent and everything, and then sometimes some of the enhancement talent is that goddamn good that, yes, they need to give them a contract, but I can't see, Cross or Lee be an enhancement talent for AEW. Come on, that's not going to happen. Where do some of these people go? Nia Jax, when she wants to come back, where does she go? Because this might be the end for some of them, and I hate to say that, because unless you're going back to the indies or, other players that I call, and I watched an IWC event last night. They are indie shows, yes, but they're bigger than, the Martinez Wrestling Federation that I just started today. I don't have the publicity that IWC, OVW, the places like that around here that I know. There's other indies that don't have anything. You're not going to see Metal Leak go to Davenport, Iowa, are you?
Yeah, no. I think, to your point, some of the bigger names are going to end up in Impact and AEW, and I think for Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Frankie, or Taya Valkyrie at this point, I think you'll see them pop up in maybe Impact. going back to their roots at that point. I think a lot of these people might end up in New Japan.
Yeah.
Or go over toward
AAA.
Japan for a while, because AAA, go get it on the international circuit. Harry Smith is definitely probably going to go back to New Japan. I think he was the starter there before he came over to WWE for the induction. And one place not to forget about that's just opening up, the women of wrestling. AJ Lee just became a part of that. This could be an opportunity for some of these females to go there and hone their skills or their talent. What a big name. They signed Tessa Blanchard. You could see Nia Jax going there. They could get some of these bigger name people to help build their brand right out of the gate. Ember Moon could be somebody that just takes on Tessa right out the gate and kind of builds it up. And yeah, exactly. It helps build that federation up and gives them a bigger be on the stage even larger now. So I think there's opportunity. There's abundant opportunity out there. It's just going to be how it all shakes out. But to your point, some of these guys are just going to tour the indies for a while, and that's perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with that. Go hit up the indies. Go make a name for yourself there to get to a New Japan, to an AEW, to Impact, to wherever, just to set themselves up for success. WWE did you wrong. I'm going to be honest. They did them all wrong. They did it for the past year and a half, all these releases, even longer than that. They've been doing them wrong. These people wrong. Go out, make a name for yourself, and realize that your value and your talent is not solely based on where WWE saw you. And you can achieve great things as you get out there.
And if I continue to get backers, you're all welcome at the Martinez Wrestling Federation. And I don't even know if I like the MWF. So that might need to be rebranded before we open the doors.
Well, we do BMF. You could do Bad Mother Effers at that point. But we'd have to figure that out.
Bad
branding.
Well, Bad Motherfucker Wrestling. BMFW.
W? That wouldn't be bad. You probably just have to leave it as Effer.
Effer. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. Yeah, we'll have to think about
that. Yeah, we'll definitely play with that.
All right.
But yeah.
Here comes Al Snow to tell you about Collar and Elbow. We come back. We have more hot topics. We're going to dive into the week of wrestling, finally. We've been talking about the week of wrestling, but actually shit that happened. And we're starting with something that we cannot wait to talk about. So we'll be right back.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Shauna Reed, and you're listening to Can Crushers. This guy's awesome, but sometimes, he likes to talk about other things that are about Joe Jonas, and really wants to be about the Jonas Brothers. So enjoy his fandom about wrestling and secretly duetting with Joe Jonas.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. Jenks, we're finally diving back into professional wrestling, and we have something hot to talk about, don't we?
Well, yeah, before we get into that, when are you starting the Joe Jonas podcast? Bailey wants to know, too.
Shauna Reed.
This fandom.
Shauna Reed. That's all I have to say. This has woken Bailey up more than anything else. Apparently, she listened to the Spotlight Wednesday, and she's been waiting for me just to get thrown under the bus about being a Joe Jonas fan.
I think that's the case, and she wants to just know when the podcast is going to open up so she can just flood your comments with
I don't know.
Not fandom.
I got a lot going on with this in the Martinez Lounge. 2 podcasts are rough to do. To add the Joe Jonas one, I would need Shauna Reed and Bailey to be on every week with myself.
But just your love could carry you through that podcast, I guess. I don't know. It's good for you. I feel you're empowered by it, and I can't wait to hear what you come up with for that love session.
He does have the best song ever. All right, Jenks, this is the part of wrestling recap that we're going to call. I don't know where this is going to go, but I know where it's going to start because we blew each other's phone up about one thing. We both rewatched it before we started this podcast an hour and a half ago now. This is something I've been wanting, and I didn't know that I wanted, and my life is going to be complete come this Saturday when Eddie Kingston takes on CM Punk. But let's rewind to Friday night, Jenks. You have a lot to say. Go ahead.
AEW has found a way to blow my mind every week. And I know it's because of the performance, but Park, I don't even know if I thought of the possibility that Kingston and Punk would face each other this early on or at all. It never crossed my mind. Watching these two experts on the mic promote something that's a week out and turn it into something that was building or has been building for 15 years and giving fans something that they didn't even know they needed, injected into their veins, it's beautiful. And it shows the level of talent between these two men. The back and forth barbs, the line about Punk saying that Kingston was not above darker elevation wrestling.
Yes.
I was like, whoa, what? And that infuriated me. To me, it was like Punk was playing the heel and just being narcissistic about Eddie Kingston and how he is and who he is and who he's developed to be. Oh my God, Mark. When they fight at Full Gear, I don't know what I'll do. I think I'll just be standing the whole time watching it in my living room. They built this beautifully. And it only took the interaction on the Rampage before, the calling out on Wednesday by Punk, and then this to just completely overshadow. And I don't want to take away from anything else on the card, but this overshadows a lot of the matches on the card.
It overshadows the week, Jenks, to me.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah. My spot was close to the tail end, right before they started fighting. Eddie got in Punk's face again, and he's like, I don't give a shit about the win or the loss, so I'm just going to come to Full Gear and beat your ass, and then you can leave wrestling again for 7 years. And I don't know if that was scripted or if clearly this was not scripted. This wasn't like, all right, you guys have to say this. This was true feelings a little bit. And I don't know if this is real life. This is where they have us. They have us by the balls saying this might have happened. And these two might have went drinking at Daly's place or wherever the hell they were. I think they were in St. Louis. Right after they did this. But he's like, you can take your goddamn ball and leave the wrestling business again for 7 years. And that hit Punk, I think. I really think, or they're all fucking great actors, should get Academy Awards. And that's where they all snapped. At the tail end, when they were separating them, Punk looked like goddamn Charlie Manson with his hair up, his eyes wide open, like he was ready to kill Kingston. I have not been invested again into something as much as this is. Where's this going to drop on the card? Because the card's stacked within itself. It really is a stacked card. You throw this in as an opener. How are the people going to have that come down moment if this is the opener and they're going to kill each other? You throw it in the middle as your popcorn break. There's no fucking popcorn break then. This is unbelievable. This is something I didn't know I wanted, but if I don't get it, I'm going to be pissed off.
Well, and here's before, not even getting into the card, there's no bathroom break match on this card. There's
there isn't.
Paul White versus QT Marshall. There's nowhere you can put that. But when I think about, you're right. It was hook, line, and sinker again. Where you have two veteran talents who can sell a pay-per-view with showing true feelings in unscripted moments. This is how you grab the audience. And we talked about the separation of WWE versus AEW, pro wrestling versus entertainment. This is the level of passion I wish I could get for anybody to just sell me on a singles match between two professionals in WWE. Kingston and Punk, I don't think they're going out to get drinks. Well, first because Punk's straight edge, but at the same time, it's yeah. But at the same time, this feels like there's legitimate hatred and not goodwill towards each other. There's a lot of built-up anger here, and I think we have to realize that too. Is Punk is not coming back to. He may have come back with a welcome from the fans and that, but some of the talent in the back, he's crossed before, and he's probably burnt some bridges with them. And I'm wondering if Kingston was one of those bridges that he burned. It sounds like he did, or they're just, like you said, phenomenal actors thinking us and getting us all hyped up on one match. I feel like there's legitimate heat here, and that we're going to get this match that's just a downright dirty fight. And I'm going to love every minute of it.
Yeah, Kingston brought that up, that he's like, yeah, the fans are happy you're back, but some of the guys in the locker room are scared. Mm-hmm. And that's where Punk came and said, it wasn't just me. And then Punk just starts, Kingston brought up Samoa Joe and some other guys first.
Right.
And I don't know if Danielson's name was supposed to be brought up in this, but Punk drops his name as well. And I don't know if that's a prelude that we're going to get maybe Punk and Danielson down the line or whatever in time. But Kingston's face did a twitch when they brought up Danielson's name. It was like not because clearly Samoa Joe was going to be named. I think, Boom and a couple other guys, but they brought up Danielson, and Kingston's face was like, what the fuck did you just say? And that it took me longer to say that than his face twitched, and he was like, holy shit. So I really think there's something, they have a working relationship, but I don't think, that this could be a stiff match. This could be something that maybe breaks that fourth wall and goes into a shoot fight. I don't know. As I said, if they're pulling the wool over our eyes and they went and got a milkshake since they're straight edge, good for them, because wrestling is, my heart is filled. Jenks, this would be one of the promos that, they say, and I ask questions once in a while to people on Spotlight saying, hey, if you could show somebody that's never watched wrestling something to get them into wrestling, this is it right now. In 2021, you show them this, and we watched it a couple times, like I said. This 8-minute promo, you said, give me 10 minutes of your life, and I want to get you addicted to wrestling. I'm not showing you a match. I'm going to show you this promo. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I noticed that twitching, too, when they brought up Danielson's name. But I think to call it back to before the Danielson-Kingston fight, they were cold to each other before that. And so him saying that and the twitch on Kingston's face, maybe it wasn't part of the promo, but I also think it resonated as, holy shit, I thought he was on it, and now this might have confirmed it. That type of moment. But again, it could be acting, but it could have been a moment of, I thought he was, and this confirms that he was. And, God, stellar performances, again, by two veterans of the ring. And it's one of those things where, again, you don't know it. They blurred the lines well enough that it could be anything. It could turn into a shoot fight. There's going to be some brutal moves. It's going to get brutal, whether it's work or shoot. Or I think it just, I don't know what's going to happen, and I just enthralled by this. If there was no other matches on the card I was excited about, but this one, I would just buy the pay-per-view.
Right.
For this
Take
match,
my money.
to see how this does. Take the money, run with it, go ahead. I'll invest in your company or something. But this is just hook, line, and sinker sold the entire Full Gear pay-per-view. And they had matches to sell the pay-per-view, but this just sold it outright.
Yeah. All right, let's bounce around. We don't have to cover everything in depth, because I know we're going to spend some time on our predictions, because I'm sure we all have twists and everything. So in AEW, Jenks, let me just run through some of the things that I really liked. I enjoyed the Omega and Angels match. Man, this just... Angels lost the match, but he won overall that night. It shows that he's got the talent, and during this match, I like collecting wrestling stuff. I've come to terms that on my Christmas list this year, I'm putting every AEW belt. So if anybody wants to buy me anything, everybody chip together. Start with the AEW belt. Overall, I've officially found that to be, it's never going to top the TV championship from the NWA because nothing ever will.
Yeah.
But I think this might be my second favorite title right now. I really do. I actually like how big it is. And we'll dive into stupid stuff like that down the line because we have so much more to do today. I love the Angels Omega match. I love how they're pushing Angels a little bit, that he's going to get something in time by himself. Continuing with that, I was disappointed in the Inner Circle whole thing with the America's Top Talent. I understand why they picked Dan Lambert. He's going to be the one who fucking loses the match. Why can't you have Paige in there? And like we said, work with a Sammy or somebody that maybe she gets an armbar on and she does some stuff. She could be the high flyer of the group. I think that sells a little bit more because, no disrespect to Del Santos or Orlowski or the Men of the Year, to have Paige in this and have it be like her first match, because everything says that she's kind of retired from the UFC right now. Is she working her way into wrestling? I don't know. I'm mad about that. MJF talking to Darby. The only thing I really got out of that, Jenks, was that fucking clothesline that Darby gave MJF. Should have killed him. Over the barrier. And AEW taking shots at WWE by John Silver coming out calling Adam Cole Budge because he was going to be a manager on the main roster. That was my dynamite. Right. And Miro subbing for Moxley, which we're not overcoding this on my book. We're not overcoding it, but it only proves that Cassidy wasn't going to win. And I think we would have gotten the same match because Cassidy's hurt. Moxley would have just came in and kicked his ass, and we would have got Danielson Moxley, which we were clamoring for. But Danielson Miro is setting up, which we think was going to happen anyway, which changes my full gear. So, all right, that's my dynamite thing. Essentially, Rampage was CM Punk and Eddie Kingston for me.
Yeah. AEW-wise, I'm just flipping through the list. Like you, I was very impressed by Alan Angels. What happened after the match with Paige, I think, has informed my pick going forward, and I'll get to that when we do predictions later on. Punk's promo was over the top. We already talked about it. It was great. Moxley and that. What other good ones? The Inner Circle thing, I saw a mile away they were going to name Lambert.
Because he said number one as soon as he came out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I came into this night thinking it's going to be Lambert. It's going to be the number. They're not going to put some random. It's going to be Dan Lambert because he's going to make some comment. He's been talking it up the whole time. The writing was on the wall. But I think to your point, Paige Van Zandt came out of this and actually seemed like she was getting set up for maybe a track in professional wrestling, which I think would be great. I think she can talk well on the mic in that. I wouldn't mind seeing her in the ring.
Right.
And making a run through these people. So I think that builds up a lot of potential there. And I like it. I like where that's going. We'll see where it ends up. Outside of that, the show itself, MJF and Darby Allin, the only thing I'll say about that, you already covered it with the clothesline. The one thing I'm kind of a nerdish, and I take different things and how to interpret them. But I also take notice of camera work in that. The whole walking with Darby down the aisleway so he can set up to run at MJF and clothesline him over the barricade, I thought was a phenomenal, kind of stole that segment from the two individuals because I think it provided a unique perspective you don't see in so many. In WWE or anywhere along this line, it made it more impactful to see him come up towards the camera and then go right back into him and follow him into that clothesline. I felt like I was right there. Yeah. And I think for me, that was something that kind of popped me a little bit on Dynamite, and I really loved and appreciated that they did that camera work. Rhodes and Andrade, it was what I expected. I don't know where this is going going to feed into what I think is going to happen at the pay-per-view, so I'll save a lot with that. And to your point about Cassidy and Miro, same. I had the same feeling. That was just going to happen. Cassidy wasn't going to escape Moxley, and we were going to get that. It just was Miro this time that did it. The Redeemer didn't, and I can't wait for that Daniel Bryan Miro match to come up, or Bryan Danielson match to come up. Sorry, wow, couldn't do it. Rampage wise, I popped. I should have known it was coming from Caster. I popped at the John Laurinaitis line. It was what it was. Yep. I thought it was fantastic. He did another great promo. The match itself was okay. It was what I expected it to be. I popped and watched that one several times because I thought it was a good line. Max Caster is great on the promo on the mic. I do want to hear more of them, so I should have known it was coming. We talked about Punk and Kingston. That was really it. Johnny Hungy, Adam Cole, and John Silver was a fantastic match. I see big things for John Silver.
I do too.
And I want more John Silver, Johnny Hungy to just take over and hopefully someday beat Budge's ass. They do have a shirt out that says Budge and them kissing Budge. So I might get that shirt, but that was my night on Impact. I love that. That was a fun match between John Silver and Adam Cole. So
WWE, we can link and anything you want to talk about, we'll just throw it all together. I like the new tag team, Jenks. I like the new tag team of Carmella and Queen Vega. Do they become tag team champions at some point?
I think so. I think for them, I think for Zelina's benefit, she's the queen of the queen's crown. She is the queen of the ring. I think that's the natural progression. If they're not going to take the title off of Becky for her, then I think you have to give them the rub on the tag team title circuit. I like the team too. I just want to see where it goes.
Yeah. And I think, no disrespect to Ripley and Nikki, but I think Ripley needs to be by herself. She needs to be a monster. Christ, you just cut Nia Jax. What other monster do you have? We have Tamina. That's right. How the fuck does Tamina still have a job? And you cut Nia Jax. Okay? You get my point?
Yeah, I get it. No, I agree. I think at some point we will see. I think the writing's on the wall. Rhea's going to turn on Nikki at some point and become. It's almost like the villain story, if you will. You've watched God knows how many superhero movies or anything like that. It's that villain origin story for Rhea Ripley. Something happens. She gets frustrated with Nikki. She's going to turn over at professional wrestling 101 at this point, but it really provides that monster versus the superhero from what we're seeing with it. So
Priest and T-Bar. Yeah. I hate T-Bar. So it's Dijakovic. Priest and Dijakovic, this was a hell of a match. Man, the welts instantly on my cousin, Punishment Martinez, was unbelievable. I don't believe I'm going to say this. I wouldn't mind this continuing. But it's not going to because Apollo Crews came out. But I like the two big guys going. And then finally, for me, I loved everything that Big E and KO did. And Seth. The references to Mount Rushmore, if you guys don't know what that is, go look it up. And KO saying he doesn't know how long his contract is, 3 months, which is actually what it is, or 3 years. I think the writing's on the wall that KO knows he's going to get buried for a while, and then he's going to essentially leave. I hope he doesn't get that release that we talked about 2 days before, so now then he has to sit out and be Kevin Steen 93 days later.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love what I'm seeing from Damian Priest right now. This aggression that I've seen from him over the past couple weeks, this is what he needed. I want to see more of this person. I wish we could see Dijakovic. I will not call him T-Bar. I refuse from this point forward. He's Dijakovic to me. I want to see more. Again, we know it's Apollo at that capacity. But to your point, I never really doubted KO and Big E were going to have a bad match. These are two very talented superstars. Seth's thrown into the mix because he's the number one contender. And I love that Big E didn't accept KO's apology at the end. He just hit him with the big ending and walked off.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice to see how that all transpires and develops going forward. KO's such a big number, but again, you're right. I think Kevin Steen's on the horizon. And honestly, getting into SmackDown, we could be seeing the same for Sami Zayn. So I think his contract's coming up at some point soon. So,
and I hope Cesaro is released too, because there's no way Cesaro should be tagging with Mansoor ever.
No, I don't know why they did that. Yeah, that was a shot at Cesaro. The talent is there for Cesaro, but again, they just don't recognize it, or they don't care to.
The fans do. The fans have been calling for Cesaro for years now, and they just will not give it to it. The main event is what it was. I expected from the get Woods and Kofi just to get beat down, and that's what happened.
Yeah. The other thing I'll mention on the show, if we were done with it, I got to give props to Shotzi. She nailed her promo. I want to see more of this Shotzi and see where this goes, because I think I like this version of Shotzi a lot, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this develops. I don't know if it leads to a title or not. Probably not, but I like this new personality that she has and she's sporting. So
I like that they're taking Sasha out of the title run for a little bit and giving her and Shotzi kind of a lower upper card, because Shotzi's already been pushed to the upper card. To me, once you fight Sasha, she can float in that upper card at any point. She doesn't need the title, and I think this is the right thing to do with Shotzi. She has lost everything. Her tag team partner, championship. Yeah. I loved all of that. So, yes, I think we're going to see a lot of Shotzi. All right, Jenks, let's throw the recaps and everything away. Get ready to head to our third segment and do the Full Gear picks for next Saturday night. But before we do that, I forgot to tell you, Al Snow talked prior to us coming back. We have a promo code for Collar and Elbow. It's called Can Crushers. All one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. You save 10% off of anything you ordered there. The new winter gear is out. Go and check them out. And don't forget to head over to all our websites and buy some Can Crusher merch as well. Finally, there was an IWC show last night. I watched it. I loved it. I can dive into that more later, probably next week when we're a little bit slower. And next Friday night, I will be going to Hamilton, Ohio to see that Shauna Reed and her Joe Jonas loving self at Future Great Wrestling. So I'm excited to make the 6-hour trip there on Friday. But, Jenks, we've been... Go ahead. Somebody's fucking weed eating. Don't act like you don't.
I know. Don't act like you don't enjoy Joe Jonas and you don't want to talk about him all until the live long day.
Right. God damn.
I will say next week when we're slower, I do have a whole rant I want to go over on the Survivor Series teams being named without matches, but we can save that for next week because I'll just do on it for a week.
Yeah, the Survivor Series was. They release the teams on fucking Twitter, and they make no sense. Yeah. We'll save that for next week. All right, quick break. We're coming back with all Full Gear for the last remaining segment of the show. Sitting strap on, whatever. Just sit down because...
Oh, boy.
We're coming back with our Full Gear predictions, and it's going to be weird.
Hey, all you stupid Regents math breathers out there. This is Amanda. I'm Elijah Dean, and you are listening to Can Crushers Podcast.
Welcome back to the Can Crushers Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for predictions.
You said your cockles weren't ready. Your cockles were definitely ready in my headsets.
I got to lower the expectations so I can deliver a bigger impact.
You have. All right. Full Gear this Saturday, 8 o'clock on all your pay-per-view outlets. I don't give a shit where you watch it. I'll buy it for $50 on Xfinity. Some people watch it on Bleacher Report. Some people watch it, I don't know, random different places like that you probably steal it. You're sons of bitches if you steal it. But
call them people out here, Mark.
Yeah.
All right.
Not making friends this week. I'm not making friends.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have the card in front of me. Do you have the card in front of you? If not, we'll just go.
I do.
All right, we'll go 8-1 and leave because there's so much going on. The trios match: the Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage against the Super Click. As much as I hate to say this, the Super Click does not need to win. They're over. They'll always be over. They're the ones. But I almost want this to continue. But it only has to be one-on-one. It has to be Jungle Boy and Adam Cole. And Luchasaurus and Cage need to be stepped away, and the Jacksons need to step away from this. So that's what I think gets out of this. I think because Cole doesn't need a title, he just is going to enhance, and I'm not saying lose all the time, enhance people like Jungle Boy with a fucking amazing feud. It's Britt's best friend and Britt's boyfriend or fiance, whatever, and they work so well together. In my heart, I want the Super Click to win dastardly, but I want the good guys of Jurassic Express be standing over all three of these guys at the end and make Adam Cole fight for more with Jungle Boy.
Yeah. So wait, you're going Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage?
My pick is for the Super Click, but at the end of the day, the good guys are getting the they're going to knock everybody else out.
Yeah,
essentially. Are we going to write these down? And well, we should probably bet beers.
Probably should. And then we'll have to cash in whenever we come into contact with each other.
Right. All right. So we're betting beers, right? A 6-pack.
Yeah.
A six-pack.
Yeah, 6-pack works.
Of whatever you want to buy the other guy. But it can't be shit. All right. I don't want.
We can't be buying hams. Okay.
Okay. Deal.
Let's keep it above hams, Miller Lite, whatever you want. It should be whatever the person decides. I don't know about hams, if that would be a good beer.
we have to go to the beer store together and buy this. And the person that wins picks it out. Deal. All right.
Yes.
Mark's taking the Super Click.
All right.
Oh, we both have M's, by the way. Holy fuck.
Yeah, we do. When I did my first pass, I wrote Super Click. You talking just now is kind of making me think it could be Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage. I'm going to go Super Click. I'm going to keep it Super Click. But I don't know if there's a beatdown that's going to occur by the good guys. I could see them just winning to push forward Adam Cole and Jungle Boy. So I think you're right. There's so much potential for that rivalry there. I think they need to keep building off of it, and eventually that's going to come to a head at some point. When? I don't know. Maybe in December. We'll see what happens.
I don't know.
No, people are going to start drinking because when I say I don't know, because I feel like I say that a lot. But yeah, I'm going to go Super Click. I'll keep the gut instinct in check right here. I just really want to pick Jungle Boy though, but oh well. We're going Super Click.
Okay, I'm going to go now. Kind of off kilter from the way that this is set up on my computer because I want to save some of these for really when we want to save some of them. So I'm going to take the Lucha Brothers against FTR, and it's for the AEW Championship. You go first this time.
Okay. I'm going to go Lucha Brothers over FTR, picking against my boys. But I just don't see the Lucha Brothers losing here. And I also feel like there's going to be a lot of things that are coming to a head between Andrade and Cody Rhodes, Malachi Black, Pac. I think we're going to have a lot of chaos in this match outside the ring, but I think the Lucha Bros escape with the tag team titles.
I agree, because if you've listened months ago, I've already named who I think my next tag team champions in AEW are, and it's not FTR. Mm-hmm. This has been a great segment. This has been a great segment for both of these guys, and everybody fucking engulfed in this. I loved it. FTR has a AAA Tag Team Championship. Cool. There you go. Lucha Brothers have the AEW ones. You can let them run, break up. FTR can go do whatever they are since they are. Oh, by the way, we need to pause on this once I get done rambling. I agree, though. I think something else happens maybe in a week to start the next feud for the Lucha Brothers, and essentially that's who I think is going to lose the titles down the line, too. Jenks, we didn't talk about when FTR came out. Did you hear my new favorite theme when they came out they had the Midnight Express and the new version of it and everything? I loved it when they came out on Dynamite. It hit, and I marked out.
Are you going to get, it was fantastic. I did love that. Are you going to get the Living Legends shirt that they have out?
Yes.
Have you seen that one?
Yes.
It's a very 80s style, and I kind of want to buy it. Myself for FTR. But yeah, I did notice that we should have talked about that because I knew that would have hit a chord with you when they came out. That was a nice little touch they had there.
Loved all of it. Hey.
Also, we didn't talk about Arn Anderson and Tully getting ready to trade blows there.
To scrap. And I think this is going to happen. I think it's going to happen sooner than later. I'm excited.
Yeah. I am too. I wanted to see them just start scrapping and throwing haymakers at each other, but we'll see it when it happens. But yeah, agreed. There's a lot that's going to happen in this one match that is going to transcend a lot of things. So
All Out.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying All Out. Mr. Sir Jenks, you go. No, you go.
All right. All I'm going to say is there's so much potential. Dick. There's so much potential here, and so many things are going to shoot out of this, whether it's another tag team coming into fruition. I think there's just so much drama that we're going to have a lot of things spitting out of this. And I think it's a Dax versus Pac next week.
Yep.
On it. Yeah. So I can't wait for it. Okay. Now it is your turn, King Martinez.
No, not King. All Out is their air quotes big pay-per-view. But this pay-per-view has so much in my mind that's going to change the whole the outlook of AEW because of the shit that's going to happen. Every match is set up to progress, and I know this sounds stupid, but it's old wrestling storytelling. Every match has something set up to lead to the main event of Omega and Page, because everybody is involved at some point. Everybody's ran across both of them, and I'm even throwing Britt and Ty into this as well. Everybody has been around this, that it's going to lead to something else, and we're getting there. Haha, another drink for you guys. Next match I want to talk about is the Inner Circle against the Men of the Year and all those idiots. Jenks, Lambert's in the match. Lambert's taking the loss. There's no way the Inner Circle loses this. They just lost. Didn't they just lose the last one against the Pinnacle?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way the Inner Circle loses this.
So I think this might be where we decide the beer situation, because I'm taking Men of the Year. For the sole reason...
Did you hear the pen drop?
They're putting...
I was so pissed.
I did. The sole reason you're trying to build up the Men of the Year, America's Top Team, Junior Dos Santos, Andre Orlovsky. I think Dan Lambert's going to pin maybe Jericho in this match.
Sammy cannot look bad in this as a champion, though. I have to say that.
That would be the only person he could pin is Jericho in this match. And I think they're going to continue putting over the Men of the Year in American Top Team. It smells that way to me, that I really think Dan Lambert might pin somebody in this match, and it's going to be Chris Jericho. And I think Paige Van Zant's getting involved.
Oh, yes.
It's a straight fight. Inner Circle's all in this match. Men of the Year, America's Top Team, they have
25 more fucking people. Yeah.
People that can come in and take this out. I got to go Men of the Year, America's Top Team on this one.
I want Paige to do something. I have to say, Sammy cannot look weak in this match as your TNT champion. He can't. He's got to take out. I don't give a shit which one it is. I don't know if him and Orlowski go at it or him and Del Santos. Because I think Paige and Scorpio Sky are protected as well because that's the team that you're going to push in time. So the three American top team members are the one that's going to be essentially taking a loss or getting a beatdown. The same aspect, I hate to say this, Hager, he's your big guy. He's your big beef. The downfall, that leaves it to two people. If Jericho takes the loss, oh well. It's Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Santana and Ortiz leading to... They could take a loss too and be all right because it has nothing to do with tag teams. Nothing. My thoughts.
I think that's valid. I like where you're going with that. My thought is I started pairing them off as you started listing like how different people line up. And if I think about it, I'm looking at Hager and Sammy to take on Andre Orlovsky and Dos Santos. That would be the big man. Andre's kind of smaller, kind of not. I think they would pair up. I think that's how that's going to pair off. Paige and Sky, Santana and Ortiz, naturally for me. It's Jericho and Lambert that I just don't know how they're going to make this work. And I don't know how Dan Lambert's going to hide in this match. Because at some point, Dan Lambert will get the shit kicked out of him. But at some point, I also think that Dan Lambert's going to get a victory out of this. And I think for a majority of the match, Lambert's going to hide. And he's not going to be involved in a lot of the match. How that breaks down, I'm not exactly sure, but I feel like I'm pairing them off. Obviously, they're going to come together and have their big spots and their big moments as one team, as team versus team. But it just feels like it's going to be all over the place. It's a street fight, but I think that's how they're going to start pairing people off and pairing the teams off.
Yeah, you have Ken Herbeck coming back because it's a street fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Britt against Ty Conte. I almost think in the back of my head, some of the booking has been for Britt to lose. But I don't think it's Ty. I can't imagine it's going to be Ty because then what does Britt do? She can't drop into the TBS tournament. So there's nothing. Ty is still, she's number one contender. But I just think there's so much more that comes out of this. In essence, you saw Thunder Rosa come down and make the save for both Anna Jay and Ty Conte this week. Does it set up another real quick little runoff with one of them before Britt's got to take on her next big person? This is a trap match for me in Britt. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Ty wins since Britt has held the title for so long, but I would be so disappointed. I know Britt's going to lose the title at some point. Come on, Mark, it's wrestling. But I think this is a trap one before you get that next big person. And then maybe Britt could win it back real quick again and be the first person to hold it twice. Just to rub that in people's faces or something like that. I don't know. But I'm taking Britt.
I'm taking Britt too. Off of your point, Thunder Rosa is involved. They have a 6-woman tag coming up, I think, on Rampage or it's on Dynamite, one of the two this week. I think that's where you'll see Britt lose this week. They're going to lose the 6-woman tag. I think it's Thunder Rosa's interjecting herself in this whole rivalry. That's who's going to beat Britt. And I think it's going to happen within the next month or so because they're going to have a blow-off match. I think Thunder Rosa is going to get involved in this match. I don't think it's going to help take Conte win and beat Britt. I think Britt wins it, but I think it's Thunder Rosa who takes this title off of Britt in the coming months. I think that's the next big person to take her off. And yes, she's in the title tournament for TBS.
She loses.
I think something hinky. She loses at some point. I think something gets involved there.
Britt gets involved.
See Hayter, Rebel, Britt, somebody's going to get involved in that match. And isn't she facing Hayter?
Yep.
Or is she facing somebody else? So, see, it sets it up perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm taking Britt here to lose to Thunder Rosa in the next month or so.
Yep. I agreed. That was the person. All right. This is where the matches get big now, Jenks. And not that they weren't big, but this is now where I'm like, oh man, where do I want to go? So essentially I have to wait because I'm going to save the two tournament and title matches last. So let's go MJF and Darby Allin. It's only because of the gasp that we had for CM Punk and Kingston earlier. MJF and Darby Allin. I don't know. I want you to go first. I want to hear what you have to say. Because I really don't know.
I don't know either. This was one I struggled with. I'm going to pick Darby right now. 2 of the 4 pillars are facing each other. I think Darby needs a win. He doesn't need a win, but he does need a win. I think Darby beats MJF here. I could see MJF doing some bullshit to win, but I think Darby scoots out of this with the victory somehow, and it will continue the rivalry going down the road. That's my thought.
I believe this is not over. I agree. I believe this is not over. But does MJF take that loss? Or does he get disqualified? Like, I don't think MJF gets pinned. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I think this is where we get a little bit wonky as well, and we get Wardlow involved. And it doesn't say on this thing that I'm looking at that Sting's coming out or the Wardlow's coming out, but come on. This is a big pay-per-view. They're at least going to be in their corners. I think Wardlow gets involved. And I think this is now the break that's been needed because I'm a Wardlow fan. I think this is where the break happens. We've been seeing it for a long time. That Wardlow costs MJF the match at some point. I don't think he gets pinned, though. I think it's a stupid count-out, and I don't mean stupid because it excels the story, or a disqualification. So I agree. Darby's winning, but MJF's not going to look weak. It's going to be cost that him and Wardlow break, because, come on, MJF's rising to the next level real fucking quick.
Yeah, and as soon as you said that, I started thinking of the accountability buddy that'll be out there too, probably, and Sean Spears. For Wardlow. Does it, I guess to that point, maybe it's some sort of dissension between Spears and Wardlow. I'm wondering if Wardlow walks out on the match. Like there's an order given, because we've seen over the past month, I think Wardlow is showing more and more, whether he's not saying it or not, he's respecting the business. And some of the things around staying in that has really made him kind of back off and not really deliver forward. And I think that's playing into it here with the legend angle that we're seeing. He's hesitant in attacking. Yes, they've attacked Sting, but he's been hesitant about doing that. I could see a disqualification, but how does it happen? I think Sean Spears is involved. I think Wardlow's involved. It could be as simple as they're fighting over something and somehow Darby gets hit with a chair or something along that line. I don't know. I see your point about the disqualification. I think MJF would get pinned, though.
Whoa.
I think something cost him.
I'm writing this down as this is probably going to be something that separates us. So far, we have been we have been all in on the inner circle in the men of the year is the only thing that separated us. So I'm saying a DQ or something wonky. You're actually saying wonky spelled with a K, by the way. I think I don't know. You're saying a pin. Okay.
I'm saying a pin.
That could be a tiebreaker if it needs to be.
That could be. Yeah, if it needs to be. I'm saying pin. I don't want it to be a schoolboy. I don't think it's going to be a schoolboy. But I think something's going to happen, and MJF gets pinned.
Wow. Okay. Punk against Eddie Kingston. I'm throwing it out there right now. Jenks, this match isn't going to end. That's my prediction. Yeah. I know it's a generic way to go. I don't think anybody gets a win in this. There's going to be something crazy that happens. It's going to be maybe a 12-minute match or something like that that is just hellfire and fucking brimstone. Shots fired. Maybe they both just get disqualified. It extends to something else. This is too hot to have it be a one-off. Or are we the only two in the world that think this is the hottest thing in wrestling right now?
I feel like we're not the only people in the world. You're in my head because I wrote no contest for this match. And we could say it's the chicken way out if you want. But I wrote no contest because I think there's going to be a lights out match between these two at some point. This was too hot. This has got burning, raging fire that one match is not going to one-off this. And if it does, I will be completely surprised by it. So I wrote no contest. I think there's a lights out match in the future.
There's got to be
on Dynamite.
Yeah, so we both got that one right or wrong.
Well, I'm saying right now.
I'm saying right.
So we actually know.
Yeah. Next matchup is Miro against Danielson, and you get a title shot to the winner. To me, the writing was on the wall. If it was Moxley, and again, get well soon, John. If it was Moxley, I would have thought, let's see what happens in this match. It would have been harder for me to pick. Okay? It really would have been harder for me to pick. This is all Bryan Danielson. Because Miro looks like the superstar. He's a beast. Danielson's going to have to do some random whatever to get the win. But he pulls it off. In essence, Danielson's going to get beat up in this match. Beat the fuck out of for a little bit. And then he's going to have to be the underdog and come back.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Absolutely agree. I did pick Danielson in this match. It just doesn't seem like Miro wasn't in the tournament. It wasn't built for him to win. This is Danielson's time, and I think again we see another way Bryan Danielson finds a way to win. He just finds ways. We've talked about this over the past couple months. Every match has been different except for I think that against Bowens he beat him with a LeBell lock, but he always finds a different way to win the match. I think he does it here, and I think you're absolutely right. He is going to get obliterated by Miro to the point he still finds a way to win, but he's just going to get the hell beat out of him from Miro. So the Redeemer looks as strong as they have been portraying him over the past several months and year, basically.
And now we get to the main event. Kenny Omega, the champion, defending against Adam Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship. Jenks, all week I've been thinking about this. I've been like, yep, nope, yep. Danielson's going to win. It sets up Danielson and Omega again. That's what you want. We've been clamoring for Adam Hangman Page for 2.5 years now. He was the first Joker. He was stoked to win this from day one. I don't want to see Bryan Danielson against Adam Hangman Page. I don't know why. They're two faces. I don't want to see that yet. Can it happen? Yeah, and I'd love it. But I'm not ready to see that. I'm ready to see the tie being broken between Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. But then what's that do to Adam Hangman Page? You just lost another shot. Is everybody going to be involved? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah. So the ref's going to get knocked down. I don't care who it is. Cody or Moochie's going to have to run in to make the call. Something. Everybody in the world is going to be involved in this match. I can't wrap my head around where I really want to go. Because I do want to see Omega and Danielson again. Is that a tease for maybe All Out next year? Does Omega get it back? Danielson's not going to be the one to beat Hangman Page. That's got to be MJF. It's got to be MJF. So you're going to tell me Danielson's going to take a loss to Omega the next time if Page doesn't take this? Danielson's going to take the loss to Page at some random event? I don't think that's right. So now am I thinking, does Miro win? Because Miro can take wins and losses or whatever. He can be the Redeemer, good, bad, cool. I don't know. Thus, building the landscape of AEW again for 6 months. Where's Cole? How does Cole get involved into this match? Because Cole and Danielson's got a history. Does Page get sick and tired of the Dark Order helping? Does he have to trickle down there to take care of that old business? I don't know. These two matches have me just thinking. It may separate us once again because we're only really one pick apart. I'm taking Hangman because we've been calling for it for about 18 months now. That's the only reason. But I don't want to see Bryan Danielson against Hangman Page. Not yet. Danielson did. I almost think Danielson shouldn't be pushed against somebody like that. Because you think he's going to lose the first title match he gets? I don't know. But if he goes against Omega again and he wins it, the world is okay. But I'm going to take Page.
So,
sorry, that was long-winded.
That was beautifully said. All of this has led to, I picked Page too, but I do think he loses to Bryan Danielson in the first title match. Because I think there's an Omega. I thought about this all week, and I think it's going to come back to Omega Danielson at Revolution Part 2.
So we're saying Hangman is a transitional champion of a month.
I'm saying Hangman. I think so. I hate to say it, but it gets the feel-good moment. It gives Page that victory, the title exposure. I think Hangman Adam Page is back in the title picture later on down the line and has a more substantial run. I think this is just the transition right now.
So let me ask this.
Because they don't want to have the... Go ahead.
Okay.
I was going to say... Oh, here we go again. Let me say this real quick. I don't think they have the blow-off match with Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega soon. I think, to your point, it goes out to All Out next year. Or All In. They build it up over the course of a year for it. Go for it.
So, do you think the contract of Bryan Danielson ending, because he wasn't released, his contract ended, do you think that essentially hurt everything that Adam Hangman Page going for him then? Because if Danielson's not in this, everybody's all in. The puns are coming now. Everybody's all in about Hangman winning this. But... again, and I'm all for this. This is great. This is a great wrestling talk that I wanted. Again, we're fucking long. I don't care. Deal with it, folks. Listen to it in 3 seconds, in 3 sections of your day. The whole Danielson thing, he's going to be, because throw Jericho aside, I don't care. He's the legend that came in to help build this company. Now people are going to compare. Look what AEW had to do in 2 years. They had to put a title on a WWE reject. And that's where that's what the naysayers of AEW are going to say when Bryan Danielson has that title. I don't care. Mark it right now. November 7th, 12/16 as we record. That's what's going to be said.
Oh, absolutely. And to those people, I say, just shut the fuck up. And
Good.
I'll put it bluntly. Sorry, guys. But this, yeah, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan, damn it, I keep doing that damn Freudian slip. But Bryan Danielson is a legend in his own right. Yes, he came in from WWE. But this is what they brought him in to do. And okay, great. He's going to replace Adam Page, and Adam Page is going to look so bad. No, he's not. You're giving Adam Page his feel-good moment. Everything is great. I don't know if it changed. It probably changed who was going to take the title off of Page. But you have lightning in a bottle with Omega and Bryan Danielson. You could do it for just a one-off upper card match. Yeah, great. But why not put the title on it? This is like New Japan. This is Omega Okada or whatever you want to go to. This is putting so much on the world title. It's building prestige for the world title. Adam Page will win it here, keep it for a month. I think this is the smart way of building it up. It's not a disservice to Adam Page. It's not. he is in the upper echelon. He is in the top tier with these guys. Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega is a marquee match that will happen and be the feud going into 2022. Adam Page right now, yes, transition coming out of 2022 though. Once this all blows out and everything's done with it, he'll be a bigger name and a bigger star. It's not going to happen now, but he's in a prime position to continue building his resume and keep continuing and building up who he is as a competitor. And remember, he's not one of the four pillars. This title win is almost for a feel-good moment for Adam Page.
Yeah.
That's where I leave it at that. And I could see him, maybe if they don't think Darby and Jungle Boy are ready to beat, I think MJF will win it at some point, but we'll see. Maybe Adam Page is the one to beat MJF whenever MJF gets the title, but he's not one of the four pillars. This is essentially a feel-good moment that we all want and we all want to see, and I think we do see it Saturday. But I think they put it back on Bryan Danielson because that is the money match. Omega Danielson 60 minutes for the world title? Are you kidding me? That's what they want. They're not going to give that away for free.
They better
they
not.
Will not give it away for free.
Not.
Yeah.
They better not. Jenks.
They did the 30 minutes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. We should actually probably start doing this in Skype so we can see each other looking at each other.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, they gave away the 30-minute match, which is fantastic. That's great. I appreciate them for it, but they're not going to give away the second match for free. And that's why I think that's extends the revolution between the two.
And I actually think it's an Iron Man match then.
It could be. Maybe it is an Iron Man match. I still am holding to the 60-minute draw, and then they have an Iron Man match after that, possibly.
All right.
But
keep it going that long, I'm in. So,
because I think Revolution will be the second match, and then probably All In or something is going to be the third. But
we are one match difference. The Inner Circle and the Men of the Year are going to predict essentially who buys a six-pack when we meet up. That's unbelievable. When we didn't talk about that match long, but we're on board.
Everything is on the line there.
Listen, I know I'll be talking to you in full force throughout the week of more wrestling stuff coming up, and then I'm sure three of us will be hooked together in a group text talking about Full Gear the whole time it's on. I almost want to maybe watch it together somehow, and we should be able to do that here in the near future.
Yeah, agreed. But I can't wait. This is going to be a fun week.
I'm excited. Let's see what the WWF does. WWE, whoever the fuck they are, who they release this week. Guys, tune in on all our socials. We got to wrap this up. Instagram, Facebook, Farmers Only, Gluten Free, all those ones that you guys have as well. We finally got onto them.
Yeah. Oh, good job. You really find an audience on Gluten Free Singles.
We do.
So.
Guys, I am pissed. I am pissed at Can Crusher Nation this week. And we'll end it like this. I give you guys a goddamn number that you guys have been clamoring for a year now to call in with your predictions. I got one, and it was very distorted that I couldn't do anything. So, I'm calling you, motherfucker, and Can Crusher Nations out. I want reactions. So me and Jenks can break down your reactions. If all of next week's show is dedicated to Full Gear and us shitting on the Survivor Series, I'm okay with that. I want reaction phone calls this week. 814-299-6687. I'm that pissed that I remembered the number, Jenks, and I swear to Christ it's not written down. I want reaction phone call messages so we can play them and break your guys' thoughts down as well. Keep it to about 3 minutes. Give me something that we can either shit on you or agree with you. Because this is what it's got to be about next week. It's got to be all Full Gear. This is going to blow our mind. It's going to be recorded 8 hours after this pay-per-view. We're going to be still on a high, Jenks, as we talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
Give me your goddamn reaction calls.
I want them. I want to hear what you guys think. This is huge, and I wish we would have had more. I mean, I was going to applaud Mark for remembering the phone number, but then I realized it was because he was pissed at you guys. Call in. Give us everything. Listen, Mark, you know what? I'll defend King Crusher Nation, though. You kind of messed up the number a few times. Maybe they called the wrong number.
Yeah, maybe.
Some poor old woman in parts unknown got a phone call about Full Gear. And she's like, I have no idea what this is.
I put it on Facebook, though. They had it on Facebook. Come on.
All right, fair enough.
So,
But follow on the socials and that, guys, so that you can call in and be interactive with the podcast.
we are setting stuff up for all the podcasts that we are part of. There's motions in motion. Is that right? It doesn't matter. I'm an idiot.
Yeah,
there's things
are in motion.
There's things in motion that essentially, guys, this is going to be a live show, and it could be more so than once a week. And I'll leave it at that. Okay? We could break it down. Yes, we're stealing. Maybe if you're going to say, oh, you guys are going to be like busted open. Right. We're just not going to get fucking Brian Danielson on our show right off the bat. Okay? Essentially, that's what I want it to be. They're in the morning. We can do shit at night. And that's what I want it to be. I don't know if it's going to be 3 hours. This podcast is going to be 3 hours because I won't shut the hell up. The wife needs to do some stuff. So I have to go into my hovel so I don't get the COVID from her. Jenks, I love this episode. I did. We dove into it. We touched on wrestling. Full Gear. I'm excited for it.
Yep. I'm all in on Full Gear. Mark, be safe. If I need to send a bubble wrap down, they can be bundled in it.
That's just for Saturday when I'm bouncing off the wall.
That's fair. But then I won't have any for myself, and I'll probably get injured. We'll see what happens.
Remember, Jenks.
Maybe I'll be on the shelf.
Oh, you'll be on the shelf. Maybe. All right. Remember, Jenks, just because I'm trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.